Hello, I'm Tactical Pascal, welcome to the channel. I hope this finds you all safe and well. In this video I'm going to review the South Atlantic map for DCS World. Now this is not my first impressions of the South Atlantic map, and that's because of quite a few reasons. I've been lucky enough to fly in this map about a year ago when I interviewed the developers of it, and I've also been there in real life. I've flown helicopters over the island, and I've been supersonic in a Tornado F3 out to sea. I've spent months of my life at MPA and up at Byron Heights, one of the radar sites. So I'm going to cover not only what I think of in terms of DCS, but also how it feels compared to being there in the real world. What's the purpose? No, not a dolphin, purpose. When I look at any map in DCS, the first thing I think of is its purpose or reasoning. What scenarios can we come up with as a community? How can we use this terrain and environment to challenge our players, and ultimately, is it even worth it? The scenarios the South Atlantic map provide are vast, from complex ground wars over huge terrain to island defence or island conquest. We have a great place for the community mod Charlie 130 because you can actually transport stuff over from the mainland to the islands, and of course the A4 will fit right in to that 1982 setting. If you don't know about that, Falklands War, go Google it. The mountainous rugged areas of the South American portion offer a new dynamic. Lots of valleys and mountains to swoop through in fast jets and halos, and they're unlike anything we currently have. It is much improved on the small amount of mountains we have in the Caucasus region or the Syria map, and it looks absolutely stunning. And handy for a little film that came out recently, Top Gun Maverick. You can relive your Maverick dreams in the South Atlantic map. Detail. Most players will either be unaware of or not care about the detail in the map. For example, the dates and times of the collection of the post, including the number in the phone box, or the whalebone arch at the church in Stanley. And really, should we care? While the detail and attention to detail can be commended, it does seem a little unnecessary to me. While I acknowledge that this is the first time in DCS that this technology has been used to develop a map and it's still in early access, I feel that more time could have been devoted to the textures of the mountainous areas instead of phone boxes in Stanley. Now, I've spoken to the developers about this before, and they've said that there were compromises made in the textures because of the size of the map. But in my opinion, they could have made a smaller map and not had to compromise. A good friend of mine spent hour upon hour upon hour removing clouds from the satellite images and painting terrain and creating stuff where satellite data just didn't exist. And it's not only for DCS, it's the same for Flight Simulator. The satellite data for the map in certain parts of the South America region, it just doesn't exist. Now there are parts that look absolutely great, but there are also parts that look like a fuzzy mess. But, and it's a big but, it is still in early access. They've said it's going to be improved. I'll include a little screenshot here of the areas that have been developed and think ones that are still in development. Now perhaps the reason that there is so much detail is because in reality that region of the world, a lot of it is barren and stark. The Falkland Islands themselves are a barren landscape. Now they're beautiful, but they are barren. So maybe that detail that's been put in there is to make up for the lack of sort of variation in terrain. At medium to high level, you probably won't even notice problems with the map or care because the rest of it does look good. And I mean, looking at the screens that we're flying around now, it just looks fantastic. However, if you go low level, that's when you see underneath the curtain, so to speak, and you see little areas that do look a bit dodgy, for want of a better word. Yeah, I'm on your right, make sure you stay left. Oh, bit of a glitch. Yeah, stay left, mate. I'll land right. Performance. Now, I was sitting around 60 frames for most of my playthroughs, but there are some areas that performance tanked, notably near Stanley and on occasion the populated areas in Argentina. But the developer spent a lot of time when they were building the map to test it on various systems, so they didn't just do it on high-end systems, they done it on lower spec computers to see that balance so that everyone could enjoy it. Now, again, we might have to make a compromise for to allow more players to play with a better experience frames per second wise, but again, they did spend time developing the map so most of us could enjoy it. Looks and feel. Now, having spent a lot of time in the Falklands, I can say with some authority that certain areas just look right. They look real. The Falklands and the South Atlantic region, as I said earlier, they're rugged and they're windswept areas, and there's beauty in their isolation. And when you've got the right weather and time of day, it's scarily realistic to what it's like being down in that part of the world. My memories of heading low level out to sea in an F3 came flooding back, and the map just feels right in certain parts. The same way the Marianas is tropical, the South Atlantic is rugged and cold. It feels foreboding when you're flying around with the right weather settings. I mean, the Falklands can be sunny and you get suntanned, or sunburned rather, but the majority of the time it's really windy and the weather changes very, very quickly. The new weather settings and new weather system we have in DCS, this allows you to make the Falklands feel very, very foreboding. Future. So what does the future hold for the DCS South Atlantic map? There is a lot of potential in the map, but there's also a lot of work to do. One of the developers has said to me to point out areas that need work or seem broken, and they are working on it. Now for us, we need to remember it's early access, and you don't need to buy it. It's a map that you'll either love or you'll hate. You'll either see that the potential that we have in this map is unlike anything we've got already or in development at the moment, or you'll see that some textures are bad and you'll complain about it. That's the nature of the beast. You'll either love it or you'll hate it, I'm afraid. The map itself, does it actually add anything for us? For me, that answer is a resounding yes, because the scenarios we can create, like I said earlier, even something as simple as East Falkland versus West Falkland, or you can have full-scale invasions from the mainland, or you can ignore the Falkland Islands completely and just fight over the terrain in South America. There are so many things we can do because the map is so big. Full-scale naval battles where we can use aircraft to the best of their potentials rather than short 15-minute hops from a carrier in the Caucasus. This map has so much potential, in my opinion. Again, you might disagree. You might think, shut up, Pascal, it's a lot of rubbish. But then I'll disagree with you because I can see the potential in this map. In conclusion, the South Atlantic map has its flaws. It's got some terrible textures, but it's also got some amazing looking textures. The scenarios that it develops for us, or the options that it gives us as players, and even just the environmental aesthetics, I think, outweigh those negatives. And those negatives, like I said, early access, are being worked on. So, is it flawless? No, not at all. Is it worth it? Absolutely. For more DCS World content and flight sim stuff, don't forget to click on that like and subscribe button. If you want to come along and join me at Tactical DCS, come along and fly, then click the link, that will be in the description below. If you want to help support the channel even further, if you want to keep me in coffee, be my wingman, or just have a look behind the scenes, I'll include a link to the Patreon, and here are my patrons. Clink, you guys are legends. That's about it for now. I'm off to the cold South Atlantic and enjoy the new map. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, Tactical Pascal, out.